Okay, so I'm going to be converting this nice coloured seascape into black and white using grayscale, calculations, and the history brush. This is just there. Just before we start, just make sure that you got your history switched on. So if it's not there, go across to your toolbar at the top, click on Windows, come down to Adjustment, and the history. There you go. Just hide that for the moment. Okay, so let's get cracking. Straight into Get Grayscale. Now you get this little box come up. You want to discard all the colour information. You can click the checkbox so it doesn't come up again, but just click Done. There you go. And you've got a very simple grayscale image. Let's have a look on the channels. There you go. Just one channel. Grey. No colour information at all. What I want to do though is go into Calculations. Now, if you just click on Calculations, you'll see this dialog box will come up. And there you have your file open, which is that file there. Yep. And we're just going to play around with the blend modes. Now blend modes are really good. You can achieve all kinds of effects with these. We just scroll up and down. There you have multiply and hard light. I tend to use multiply and hard light quite a lot. When they give me effects I'm looking for, especially with a grayscale image like this. So there we are on hard light. This cloud's a bit blown, but there's that nice glossy feel to the sea. We can use that. Click OK, and you'll see you'll get an alpha channel and the grey. Now I'm not really interested in the grey. I want to bin that, so let's just grab hold of it and chuck it away. So grab it, hold the mouse down, take it across to the bin, throw that away, and we're just left with the alpha 1 channel. And we're going to take a snapshot. So click on the little camera icon at the bottom, double click on the layer, and we're going to rename it. And the best thing to rename it is hard light. Okay. So we've still got these history states. I want to go back and just click on the grayscale one, which is that one there. And we're going to go back into calculations again. We're going to do something slightly different this time. So if you go into image, calculations, and the same box comes up, we're going to change the blend mode. Still the same information there. So I want to go to multiply, and there you go. Look at all the information that comes into the sky. That's going to be really useful. We can use that. Again, bin the grey. Don't want it, just keep with the alpha channels for the moment. Same again. Little snapshot, click on the icon, and we'll rename that one multiply. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so we've got some history states. Now we can start playing around with those. There's a hard light, and here's the multiply. So you can see we want to transfer some information across to one to the other. Now to do that, we're going to use the history brush. So let's go across and have a look at the history brush. That's where we're going to put the information in, and we're going to put the information on the multiply into the hard light. So if I click the little icon by the side of multiply, you see a little brush goes in there, and then I select the hard light. Let's just choose a history brush and select normal in the blending mode. And I'm working in a roughly a 40-40 mix with opacity and flow. Let's just clear off the history, and with one stroke let's just paint in that multiply information into the hard light image. There you go. Look at that. Building up quite nicely there. So what do we need to do now? Well, okay, we've finished with that. You see there, 40% roughly. I want to show you something now. We're going to go into Edit, Fade History Brush. There's a shortcut there. If you want to use a shortcut, learn it. If not, just keep going into there. So we have the Fade History Brush dialog box. Now you can see our blending mode is normal. We chose that, and also the percentage we've put on there is in that box there. We can adjust the opacity. Look at that. Denser. Fantastic. We can also change the blending mode. Let's do that. Multiply. Look at that. All of a sudden we've got a sky. So from the small amount of information that Grayscale carries, we've just bulked up that sky. As easy as that. Now you can just play around with your sliders. Have a look at different blend modes. Go back to normal, back to multiply. One of the best ways of learning is just playing around. You know, get in there, discover what the blend modes do. Let's have a look at history again. We just click on that, it'll bring out the history. Take a snapshot. And we're going to rename this one. Surprisingly enough, history brush. There you go. Just hide that again. Now I'd really like to lighten up the bottom down here somehow. Without using any adjustment layers, I just want to use the information we've got from the Grayscale. So the thing to do is have a look on your history. So I'm going to select the history brush layer, and I want some lighter information. Okay, so those two don't carry much lighter information. So how am I going to make it lighter down there? Just by using the history brush. I'm going to click on the icon next to the hard light one. Make sure I've got the history brush active. Go across, choose my history brush. So look how squishy it is, nice and soft, not too big, good size. But I want to change my blending mode to screen. And let's see what that does. Okay, screen blending mode. If you've not used it before, very good for brightening things up. And we're just going to hold the mouse down, or keep the pressure on your pad if you're using one of those, and just paint in the hard line information into our history brush image, but in screen blend. And you see what's happening? Yep. Yeah, just brightening the whole thing up down there. Remember, we're using no adjustment layers on this. We're only using the information from the Grayscale image that we're working on. Looks good. But what can you do to it? Well, you can add more information. We can go back in time if you're doing it too much. See that? You can just, or click back on again. Now one thing you've done there, because you've worked in your history, the fade option disappears. It only works on your last action. So if you want to fade the history brush, you've got to go in again, give it a bit more of a tickle, and just don't overdo it. This is one of the good things about working in a roughly 40-40 mix, is that you can keep going over things. So now we've got the fade history brush. It's telling us we're in screen. We've got our opacity slider to play with, so you can brighten things up, slide it to your right. And you can take it down. I think that'll be fine, really. Nice and bright, not too bright. Let's take a snap. So a little camera icon, you've snapped it, rename it. I mean, you don't have to rename it once you get into this, but just when you're starting with history, that's our screen option. So now we've got 4 states. We've got our hard light state, multiply. The first one we worked on with the history brush, and then the last one we just worked on, which was screen. So you can see from a simple Grayscale image, which is one layer, that's all it is. There's no multiple layers, there's no adjustment layers, there's no blending layers, you're just working off one Grayscale layer. You can build up a pretty decent black and white image. So remember what we did? We changed the mode to Grayscale. You use calculations down there. Clicked on that. Use the calculations. We learned how to use the history brush. Very useful little tool. We made sure our history was open. It is just ticked off. There's our history. Our history states. We've learned how to take a snapshot, rename them all, use the information in those, and there you have a Grayscale black and white. So try it. I'll see you soon.